All right, so I've heard that you're doing a wisdom circle. What exactly is that?
Well, I'm not just doing one wisdom circle. It's going to be a regular meeting, a regular group type meeting. And I guess the point of what a wisdom circle is gathering different queer people, specifically transgender, two-spirit, multigender, whatever your term is, people, gender varying people, who are on the spiritual path, specifically an earth-based spiritual path, to come together regularly, say monthly or bi-monthly, in my backyard and practice together. Practice meditation, practice magic, practice energy work, share wisdom and insights, do group healing, do dream work, that type of stuff in a ritualistic, disciplined, focused way.
Okay, now you've mentioned a couple of things. Maybe should make a little more clear. What do you
Sure.
mean by trans or two-spirit people? And also, what are you specifically looking at when you talk about spiritual path?
Well, okay, so first of all, the most accurate term would be the term two-spirit. The term two-spirit comes from a few different Native American tribes, and it's a term that refers to people who are queer, people who are possibly gay, bisexual, who also might be gender variant, who live out a gender that is different from the one they were assigned at birth. And the two-spirit is a specific, they often play a specific role in the tribe, so they have an actual place in society, whereas in our Western American culture we don't, there's no specific role for us. That's why we're queer, that's why we're different, there's no purpose, we're just sort of weird and freaky. Two-spirit people don't necessarily transition from one binary gender to the other, as they often do in this culture, but they often hold both genders or more than one or two genders at the same time. So in that way they function as bridge people. However, I use the term two-spirit when I want to communicate what I'm talking about in terms of a spiritually focused trans person, because that's the only term that I know of that people might know what I'm talking about. I don't apply it to myself because that's not my culture. I play a bridge role. I hold more than one gender in me. In society, in my life, I'm trans-masculine, so I was assigned female at birth, but I walk in the world as masculine, and I use he pronouns. On a deep level, my soul, my spirit incarnating through matter, that does not have a gender. That is soul. That is part of creation. I use gender and identity as a way of walking in the world because we have a language and established system that uses gender in that way, and so it makes the most sense for me, feels the most authentic for me to walk as masculine in this society. I intend for the group to be open and inclusive. At the same time, I follow an earth-based spiritual path, and so a lot of the language that I'm going to use in the group speaks to that path. So, that's a mix of indigenous wisdom, and not just indigenous of, say, Native American indigenous wisdom, but all kinds of indigenous wisdom. I happen to be Slavic, Polish, and Croatian, and so I've done a lot of research on my family, my genealogy, and the kinds of pre-Christian spirituality that people practiced there. Earth-based spirituality also goes by pagan. People who hold the earth as sacred, that the earth is an organism that we're all part of. There's a sacred unity of the cosmos, of the earth, and all of the creatures, plants, and everything that are on it or in it. Pagan, indigenous. There is a movement happening right now with a lot of descendants or people of European descent who are reclaiming their own indigenous ancestry. As opposed to looking at Native American indigenous wisdom or Australian Aboriginal wisdom and picking bits and pieces from there, but actually looking to one's own past and reclaiming a lot of that. By the word spiritual, that's a tricky one. But for me, spiritual or spirituality is the intentional path or process of becoming more and more aware of how we are all interconnected, and also integrating the different areas of wisdom. Hence, wisdom circle. The fairies, the radical fairies, have a tradition of calling heart circles. It's speaking from the heart. And when I say part of my spiritual path involves integrating the different centers of wisdom, I don't just want to speak from the heart. I want to integrate my heart center with my mind, logical, analytical, rational, with the heart, with the gut, with creativity, with precognition, with dreaming, with astral experiences, meditative experiences, all the different wisdom that comes from different states of consciousness and different parts of the body, the experience, also the collective, as I said before, the interconnection among people, is sort of the goal. I don't want to say goal, but part of the spiritual path is realizing in a lived way, a very real way, the interconnection of everything. So there are centers of wisdom that relate to how one feels that interconnection as well. So that's what I mean by spiritual. So people could theoretically come from many different paths. It's just that myself and the few people around me that are interested in this circle follow this earth-based, pagan, indigenous spiritual path.
And do you look for people to come with their own ideas of spirituality, or is this more like kind of a religious thing where certain ideas are essential, or what?
This is so not a religion. So the point, I mean, part of the point is, and part of the point, I think, of trans spirituality, trans consciousness, and part of what we have to offer is the unique wisdom of each individual. So in the wisdom circle, the healing that we do, the practices that we do, the wisdom that we share is going to honor each person, adding their own unique experiences in life into the circle to be shared. So by all means, the more diverse spiritual paths and languages that we have, as long as we can integrate them in a way that we all understand what we're talking about and feel that, then yeah, diversity is part of the point.
What do you see as special or truly different about this trans or two-spirit type of spirituality from other spiritualities?
Well, okay, first of all, as far as I can tell and read and seen, we have not had a place for specific trans spirituality. So true. Many people are going to be asking this because we don't even know what it means. I think that our role as bridge people is part of that role. Our ability to hold different centers of wisdom, different genders, different experiences. I've lived my life as a straight girl. I've lived my life as a queer dyke. I've lived myself as I've lived my life as a queer boy. I've lived my life as a genderqueer. So I can offer, I mean, if anything, I can just offer insights from those different experiences and bridging those. We have, I feel a special kind of magic in our ability to hold paradox, and our ability to hold paradox as a state of consciousness, you know? Like that liminal state of consciousness where you're able to bridge different waking experiences at the same time and offer our own unique wisdom from that place. And as far as what that's going to look like and what that wisdom is, you know, tell me now, we have only to find out. I mean, that's part of the circle, is to see what each person is going to bring from their role as a bridge person. And I mean, in history, in the past, transgender people, queer people were revered in certain cultures, and actually, well, revered and sometimes feared for their own unique, special, magical abilities. So in some cultures, they were thought of as being particularly magical, particularly having spiritual gifts, because they play that unique bridge type of role. So I think a lot of it is going to relate to the bridge role. But I'm kind of excited to see what happens, because it's been suppressed for so long, and all we have is little bits and pieces of myth and little stories from different cultures and things that are things of the past. I mean, and now we're bringing them to life, so we'll
Since
see.
even many Native American cultures that had a two-spirit tradition had it crushed and are now struggling to either find theirs or to get over the prejudice within their own communities against it. Do you see our culture as ready for this?
I think we're at the very early stages. I don't think I think many of us are, but I think that it's going to be a long road before I would say the majority of us are. You know, I don't think that's yet the case, but I think that someone's got to start it, and it might as well be us.
So that's what this wisdom circle is starting the process?
Absolutely. Yeah.